Now the center line has been reestablished and a little bit of work has been done around the mouth, as you can see. But at this point I want to locate the eyes, and I'm taking a compass, which is already a predetermined dimension, and I'm going to be placing it right on either side of center. Now this is the width of an eye, okay? So this is how we do eyes. There's an invisible eye between the right and the left eye. So here is the right and the left eye. And then from the edges of the eye out, there should be approximately a half eye distance between the corner of the eye and the side of the face. So that's how we approximate the location of the eyes. It is also interesting that we can bring this in later, but just to show you that the width of the eye will normally also be the width of the nostrils. Okay, so we'll just put that there, but we'll come back to it. What is absolutely critical in locating eyes is the depth of the eye. And now this is true in any dimension that you're working in. We're demonstrating today in a terracotta that is about 80% the size of a human head. But it is the in and out, the back and forth, that is the key to understanding sculpture. So we want to be sure that we can see these planes. That's why we're not dealing with the nose right now, is we want to be able to see that plane and feel that they are about equal, so that the center of the eyes, the pupil, are going to be there and there. The human eye is a sphere that is 25 millimeters or 1 inch approximately in diameter. And here I'm just going to open up a little bit of space for it, a little bit more space. I'm going to work primarily here on the eye on our right, which is the left eye of the figure. And I'm going to place a little ball of clay right about there. We'll see if that is correct in the course of time. Let's see, I think maybe get a little bit of clay back in there so the eye will come a little bit more forward. Eyes are generally smaller than most people realize, and that is because while we may have an eyeball that is 1 inch in diameter or 25 millimeters, about 80% of that is hidden away in the eye socket. So that is going to be placed there, and just to give myself a little bit of a lead here, I'm going to also place the second eye. What concerns me most at this point is that these eyes are equally out from one another. This is a very, very easy thing to lose track of. You focus so much on one eye that you lose track of the other eye, and what happens is it's not a question of whether one eye is higher or lower, but it's more of a question of one eye is projecting out more, the other one receding in return. Now before we proceed, here's a handy little thing I want you to remember about shapes. One of the most difficult things to comprehend is the idea of the transition of the form of the eye to the side of the head. So this is what I would like you to do. Consider an S-curve, and this S-curve is laying on its side and goes over the top of the eye, and then as it turns on the profile of the head, it returns up like that again. So these S-curves are a very handy reminder that the eye, the process of the eye, actually turns the corner of the head, and therefore that's why we can see an eye in profile as well as forward. There is so much of a tendency among novice sculptors to do the eye as if it was a drawing and just make it flat from one corner to the other. Keep in mind, this is a sphere. All of this process around the eye is tilted back here. The skull is tilted back, the orb of the bone is tilted back, and hence we get the eye coming off of the corner and around the side of the head. Let me just point that out again using Mr. Goldfinger's fine sculpture. that we're talking about this region of the eye. This bone here curves away toward the back. You can see it here more in profile. As we turn the head, you can see how pronounced that is. So we're going to be working the eyelid and the process above in this corner. So here I want to clear out just a little bit more of this area of the head. That's for my convenience. And I'm going to establish the beginnings of an upper eyelid. All right. Now this is all quite do it, see if it works. If it doesn't, we try something else kind of approach to sculpting. This is one of those situations which is very common in art, which is to say that you really have to have a lot of things in place before you can judge whether you've done the right thing or not. But you will notice that the upper eyelid has a long diagonal stroke this way and then a short diagonal stroke into the corner. Taking a little bit of material now, and I'm going to put it in the corner above the eyelid and try to blend that in a bit. A little bit more clay, a little bit more blending. Let me just take a moment here to refine this for you. So here now, I've had an opportunity to clean it up a little bit, and there are two things that I want to point out to you that will help you tremendously in the eye. The upper portion of the eye, the protuberance of the skull here in the forehead, this is the superciliary portion of the brow, and there is a bone and muscle tissue over it that makes this particular section a little bit more pronounced than this section over here. But the second section is a much larger section, and you can see how it flows around the side of the head in the S curve that I had brought to your attention just a moment ago. Okay, there is the S curve. So here the eye also goes very deeply into the corner. This is the deepest feature in looking at someone's face, is this corner here, which you will see even more pronounced once we get a nose on. Now the lower eyelid is rather a mirror image in direction from the upper eyelid, which is to say that it is a long stroke from the corner, the inside corner of the eye, to a short stroke on the outside. The other factor that's tremendously important is that that lower eyelid gets pushed in so that, like the lower lip, it is slightly less than the upper eyelid. That's true on both corners, I believe. And most importantly is that it gets stepped back so that, like the lower lip, the lower eyelid is receded. The upper eyelid comes out further and the lower eyelid a little bit less so. And the lower eyelid goes more or less straight down. Maybe it's receded slightly back, but it's straight down. Let me just show you that in profile. Let's see how that looks. Well, that's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. Now, before I leave you for a few moments to do the other eye, I just want to put in a little bit of the flesh beneath the eye, which is also part of the cheekbone. This will give you further a sense of just how receded the eye is in relationship to the rest of the face. So we're going to just put that there. This is all subject to change. Nice, strong, pronounced cheekbone. See, we're still in the canine fascia. I'm just going to take a few moments to do some work on the other side, and I'll be right with you.